After years of pain, Ronke and Jabenga finally found peace. Their love had survived ridicule, strange dreams, and terrible loss. When they married, the whole village of Iludun danced in celebration. But their joy was tested again when their first child, a girl they named Adesewa, was born. Adesewa was beautiful, with skin like polished mahogany and wide, curious eyes. But her head was smooth, completely bald, not a single strand of hair. Ronke froze the first time she bathed her daughter and ran her palm over the slick scalp. Memories of whispers, of mocking children and hidden tears flooded back. She too had been born like this, and she remembered what it cost her. "I won't let this world hurt her like it did me," she whispered to Gabenga one night. He nodded, holding both mother and child tightly. "We'll protect her, no matter what." Ronke and Gabenga poured all their love into raising Adesewa. They filled her days with warmth, music, stories, and joy. They made her believe she was special, never lacking, never strange. But once Adesewa turned 7 and began school, the world beyond their home turned cruel. "Why does your head shine like a drum? She's a boy pretending to be a girl. Do you use palm oil to polish it every morning?" She smiled the way her mother taught her and walked away. But inside, her heart cracked and bitterness took root. The children's laughter followed her home like ghosts. At home, she said nothing. She smiled through it. But one afternoon, while sitting under an Iroko tree at school, a girl named Ivarun, known for her strange stories, came to sit beside her. "I know a secret," Ivarun whispered. "A real one?" Adesewa blinked. "What kind of secret?" "There's a river, deep in the forbidden grove, my grandmother told me. If you go there and call out to it 3 times, it will grant you anything you want." Adesewa's heart thumped. "Anything?" "I heard a powerful man named Baba Okiki got his riches from that river. But you must go alone, and never tell anyone. It's dangerous. People disappear there." That night, as her parents slept, Adesewa crept out into the darkness. The moon hung low, barely enough light to see the path leading past the farms and into the wild grove at the edge of Iludun. Her heart pounded in her chest. She pushed past thick bushes, scratched by branches, but she didn't stop. The air grew colder. The sound of crickets vanished. Then she found Ita, a dark, silent river nestled between 2 towering trees. The water didn't move. It just watched her. She stepped close. "River, river, river, river," she called. The surface rippled. Then the mist rolled in. A glowing figure rose from the water. Its form was hidden in shimmering fog, but its presence pressed against her like a heavy cloth. "You seek beauty," the spirit said. Its voice echoed like wind through a hollow tree. Adesewa nodded, trembling. "I can give you hair that grows like a forest. But beauty demands sacrifice." "What must I do?" she asked. "Feed the hair. When it hungers, feed it. Do not let it starve. Do this, and it will never leave you." "I will," she whispered. "I'll do anything." A small calabash appeared in her hand. "Boil. Drink. By dawn you shall have what you wish." She woke in bed, pretending nothing had happened. That morning, she boiled the strange herbs, and when her mother asked, she lied. "The herbalist gave it to me to help my hair grow." Ronke hesitated. The smell stirred something old and frightening in her chest, but she let it go. Days passed, then weeks. And one morning, Jabenga screamed, "Ronke, come! Look!" Adesewa stood by the window, her scalp no longer bare. Her hair was thick and black, curling like vines toward the sun. It grew fast. Too fast. It was alive with movement even when there was no breeze. Ronke felt fear coil in her gut. "Sewa." "How?" Adesewa only smiled. At last, she had what she wanted. Hair. Real, living hair. But as night fell, whispers crept into her dreams. "We are hungry," the hair hissed. And Adesewa smiled again. At first, Adesewa hid the whispers. She learned to smile while her hair curled and whispered its hunger in her ear. "We are hungry," it said every night. "Feed us," it hissed every morning. She tried to ignore it, but the hair tugged at her scalp. It twitched against her skin. It wrapped around her shoulders, brushing her cheeks like vines, looking for something. No, someone. One night, as the stars blinked in silence, the whispers became screams. Feed us now. Adesewa covered her head with a scarf and stepped outside. She moved quietly past her parents' room and out into the cool night air. The village slept. Only a few lanterns flickered in windows. She stood near the mango tree where children often played. Her eyes scanned the shadows. That's when she saw Iotunde, the boy from next door. Small, playful, trusting. He often brought her mangoes and said kind things when others mocked her. But now, he was food. Ayo! She called sweetly. He turned, surprised. Adesewa, you finally came out. Everyone thought you were sick. She nodded, eyes glowing in the dim moonlight. I'm hungry. Will you follow me to the edge of the forest? I found something you'll like. He hesitated only briefly. Sure. They walked in silence, his small feet kicking stones, hers stepping carefully. As they reached the edge of the forest, the air turned heavy. Leaves stopped rustling. Even the insects grew silent. Ayo, she whispered. Yes? She turned to him slowly, pulled the scarf from her head, and the hair hissed, untangling itself like snakes from a pit. It slithered forward before he could run. Thick strands wrapped around his body. He screamed once, then silence. The vines dragged him into the shadows. Adesewa stood still, her breath calm. The whispers went quiet, satisfied. By morning, chaos erupted. Iotunde is missing, his mother cried through the village. Men gathered with lanterns. Drums were beaten to summon help. Children were kept indoors. Some blamed kidnappers. Others whispered of dark spirits returning. But nobody suspected Adesewa. She sat on her mat, hair tied neatly, sipping millet porridge while her mother braided the ends gently. You're quiet this morning, Ronki said. Adesewa smiled faintly. I'm just tired. That afternoon at school, Ivarun came to sit beside her again. Did you go? She asked, her eyes wide. Adesewa nodded. Did it work? Adesewa leaned closer. Yes, thank you, Ivarun beamed. I knew it wasn't a lie. My grandma warned me, though people who ask the river for gifts always pay something in return. Adesewa tilted her head. Would you like to see something shiny I found? Near the grove? Shiny? Like a bracelet? Even better. During lunch break, they slipped away together, unnoticed. They giggled as they passed the last classroom, then walked into the tall grass. You're sure it's safe? Ivarun asked. Of course, Adesewa said. Minutes later, only her school slippers and earrings remained in the bush. Another child. Gone. That evening, Ronki sat at the fire, staring at her daughter's growing hair. It moved when there was no wind. She told Gabenga, something is not right. That Herod grows too fast, too wild, and I feel something watching me when she walks past. Gabenga looked up from sharpening his knife. You're worrying too much. The herbal mixture must be powerful. But I never gave her any herbs, Ronki whispered. She said the sacred priest gave it to her, but I never saw him. Gabenga paused. Meanwhile, villagers were panicking. 2 children gone in 1 week. No trace, no sign, nothing but whispers of the old forest spirits returning. A village meeting was called. Elders gathered under the Iroko tree. Prayers were offered. Rituals began. Cowries were thrown, and kola was broken. But the disappearances didn't stop, because Adesewa's hair was always hungry. By the 3rd week, 4 children were missing. Some parents moved away, others kept their children locked indoors. The streets grew quiet. No laughter, no games. But Adesewa, she bloomed. Her hair grew past her waist now, thick and black as night, and still it moved. It whispered. She stood by the window at night, eyes scanning the road for her next meal. And when she smiled, it was no longer a child's smile. It was something older, something hungry. One night, as the moon cast strange shadows across the village, Jabenga stirred in his sleep. He heard something, a creak, A movement. He got up and peered through the window, and what he saw turned his blood cold. Adesewa was outside, walking barefoot, following a man. A moment later, Gabenga saw it. The way her hair moved, it grabbed the man, held him, swallowed him whole. Gabenga clutched his chest, shaking. His daughter, his own daughter, gone. He had just watched his daughter kill a man, and she didn't even blink. Gabenga sat in the dark corner of his room, clutching the hem of his wrapper. He hadn't slept. He couldn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the image again, Adesewa's hair wrapping itself around that man, lifting him into the air and consuming him whole. By dawn, Benga made a decision. He waited until Ronki stepped out to the stream and Adesewa was in her room. Then, heart pounding, he crept inside. She was asleep, face peaceful, chest rising and falling like any normal girl's. But Gabenga knew what she was not. Quietly, he reached under the bed where Ronki kept a calabash meant for herbs. He brought out a small knife and whispered an apology before slicing a strand of Adesewa's hair. The moment he cut it, it moved. The strand twitched in his hand like a worm. He stuffed it into the calabash, sealed it tightly, and wrapped it in cloth. He ran straight to the shrine of the high priest Awafeso, deep in the sacred grove outside the village. Awafeso was already sweeping the shrine yard when Gabenga arrived, panting. "Baba!" Gabenga cried. "Please, I need your help." The priest looked up, frowning at the desperation in the man's face. "What troubles you, Gabenga, son of Oliemi?" Without a word, Gabenga handed him the cloth-wrapped calabash. When the priest unwrapped it and peered inside, his face changed. His calm expression twisted into alarm. This is not just hair," he said, stepping back. "This carries a spirit." Gabenga nodded slowly. "It's from my daughter." Awafeso dropped the calabash as if burned. "You must be joking." "I saw her, Baba," Gabenga whispered, voice shaking. "I saw her kill someone. With her hair." The priest stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Your daughter made a pact, one that no child should ever make. She called to something dark in the forbidden forest. And it answered. What do I do?" Gabenga begged. "Please, help me bring her back." Awafeso looked down solemnly. "Your daughter is gone, Gabenga. What lives in your house now is a vessel. The spirits who gave her the hair, they have eaten her soul. What remains is their hunger." Gabenga fell to his knees. "No, there must be something we can do." "There is only one way," the priest said, reaching into a wooden box. He brought out a dagger with symbols etched in red. "You must drive this through her heart. Before she feeds again, if you hesitate, the spirits will grow stronger, and she will kill again, and again, and again." Gabenga stared at the blade. "But she's still my daughter." The priest held his gaze, like a ghost. The dagger was hidden beneath his wrapper, cold against his skin. The weight of it made every step feel heavier. How would he tell Ronki? How could he explain that the daughter they loved, raised with so much care, was no longer human? He didn't have the chance. As he approached the compound, a scream pierced the air. "Ronki!" He ran. Inside the house, Ronki stood frozen in the doorway of her room, clothes still in her hands. Adesewa stood opposite her, but something was different. Her eyes, once warm, were now dull, empty. Her lips twitched with something between a smirk and a snarl. Her hair writhed slowly, brushing the floor like a nest of black snakes. "Adesewa," Ronki whispered, taking a slow step backward. "What's wrong?" No answer, just a step forward. Ronki tried to stay calm. "Did someone hurt you?" "Sewa, talk to me." Another step. The hair was rising now, hovering in the air. "Adesewa, stop," Ronki shouted. From outside, Gabenga heard the scream again, louder, full of terror. He broke into a sprint. Inside, Adesewa stood just feet away from her mother. Her arms hung limp, her head tilted strangely. Her hair had begun to stretch toward Ronki. Ronki backed into the corner of the room, hands trembling. "Adesewa, please, it's me, your mother." Just as the hair lunged, Gabenga burst through the door. He saw the moment. He saw the thing trying to wrap itself around his wife. He pulled the dagger from under his wrapper, hand trembling. Adesewa turned, slowly, her eyes locked on her father. Her lips curled into a chilling smile. "Daddy," she whispered, "you're just in time."